The other thing that's very complicated about minimum wages is places are so different. Mississippi and Alabama and great places are very different than New York or California. I mean, in terms of the cost of living and other things. So it would be nice to have just a minimum wage for the whole country, but it wouldn't work because you have places where it's very inexpensive to live, where a minimum wage, which is $8 or $9, might be, might have very little effect because the cost of living in certain places is real.
I'm Del from the band Pullback.
I'm Jake the Snake. I was drummer for Detroit punk rocker Tommy Trash 5 years.
And he's a Polak.
I'm Brown.
Within about 15 seconds after the call in, it was at Mar-a-Lago, we were having dinner talking about it. I said, you have to close up your borders because they're coming in the northern border too a lot. Not like the southern border, but they're coming in the Canadian border a lot. And drugs are pouring in. Almost as importantly, drugs are pouring in, maybe more importantly, drugs are pouring in at levels never seen before, 10 times what we had. They're just pouring in. We can't have open borders. Mm-hmm. And I said to the president of Mexico and to Justin Trudeau, if it doesn't stop, I'm going to put tariffs on your country at about 25%. That's a very substantial tariff. And in the case of, in both cases, but in the case where it was really visible, within 10 minutes after that phone call, we noticed that the people coming across the border, the southern border, having to do with Mexico, they were at a trickle, just a trickle. It was, in fact, I call the border. See, unlike my opponent, I do call the border a lot. And I said, how's the border looking today? They said, there's nobody here. They couldn't believe it. The military stopped these vast groups of people. We call
all it takes is them to respect somebody.
Exactly, yeah.
And they're like, oh, he doesn't fuck around. We better put a stop to this horse shit.
Biden was a fucking joke. And Kamala, I call her Skamala Harris. And she would have been, she was worse. Can you imagine her going up against, like she or fucking Putin or somebody? They'd just tell her to fuck off. I'm going to do what I want. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, she'd cackle at him and laugh at him and shit and make some stupid fucking joke.
caravans.
Talking about, oh, you were born in 1939, weren't you?
But they had caravans of people, and they largely stopped them. Now, they're going to have to continue that, but if they don't continue, and the other thing I told them is no more drugs, and I told that to China, too. I had to deal with President Xi.
China was, I remember I've seen the thing, they showed it, I've seen the thing on YouTube somewhere, some few years back. They showed a jar, like, it was about that big and like that tall, like that. And it was, it sold for like 2,000, it was a fentanyl. And from China, it sold for like $2,000. And they could take that and cut that way down, and still, man, it was still kill a shit ton of people if, I mean, that shit is fucking super fucking potent, man.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
He used to do it.
Yeah, it's so potent, man. And like I said, there's that one kid, somebody sold a kid, was supposed to have been Adderall, and ended up having fentanyl, just a small little pill. Killed them deader than shit, man.
The election.
And it's coming through the border like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, well, China, they got the guys there making it. And then they were giving it to the cartels in Mexico, and then they trained the cartels how to make it.
Been different. I'm going to be very nice because we don't have to get into an argument over 2020. But had the election been different, the result been different, we would have had China giving their maximum penalty, which is the penalty of death, to people that sent fentanyl into this country. But Biden didn't, unfortunately, finish that discussion up. I had an agreement with President Xi, who I got along with very well. We've had communication as recently as this week. And I had communication with him where they were going to give the death penalty to anybody sending drugs into the United States.
This week you had that conversation.
Not that conversation, but I had other conversations. Okay. But in the past, I've had that conversation.
Let me ask you about another aspect of the economy, sir, the minimum wage. The federal minimum wage has been $7.25 since 2009. There are 20 states that still have the federal minimum wage at $7.25. And I actually have a map. 19 of these states actually voted for you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
and you can see
Right.
it
Yeah.
right here. I don't know if you remember this, but during the debate in 2020, I asked you if you would raise the minimum wage. You said you would consider it. And so my question for you is, now that you are going back to the White House for these 19 states.
The problem is yeah, in tech there's no job pays just 17, whatever the fuck.
No.
Because it's not about what the government says, it's about the market, you know? Because if McDonald's is paying 15 an hour, you can't, no one's gonna work for you at $7 an hour.
No.
Especially when an apartment's $1,500 a month. There's no point in even going to work if you're making $7 an hour. So that's how the market even things out. The only thing you do when you raise minimum wage, let's say, oh well, we have to raise it to 17 an hour. Then those jobs paying 15 an hour have to raise everything they have to increase the cost of their goods to cover up for that
Exactly.
in order to still make money for the shareholders who own a part of the company, which they can be sued if they don't grow the shareholders' money. And it's like, and then everything goes up, and then that $17 an hour is worth $14 an hour. So
Well, I was shocked when after COVID right there, and because fast food workers didn't make shit. I think $9 an hour or something like that. And then I'd start seeing these signs, $15 an hour, $16 an hour. Go, what the fuck for fast food?
Yeah, because it's the market. They can't find workers because everyone's getting paid to stay home. So that they should just keep the government out of shit, and then everything just kind of balances this stuff out.
Yeah, I was shocked how much the way, and like you said, there's very few people that are going to get a $7.50 an hour job. I mean, granted, there probably are some people, but the majority of the companies are going to pay better than that. Unless
I haven't seen a company since I was in high school pay that.
Well, you're like I said, you get a job. You had so many jobs that's unbelievable, and you always get good paying jobs. I don't think you've ever, since I've known you, the jobs you had always been good jobs. I think you may have one or two.
Well, that's
shit
relative.
Well, yeah, but you get.
I mean, when you work for a news station, you get that's a lot better job than anything else.
Oh, hell yeah!
The best job I had was fucking 12-hour days, 6 days a week construction. That was, $25 an hour. Which,
that's decent money. Well, plus all the overtime.
well, not compared to what she makes.
Oh no, but no.
She did a lot less work, a lot less back pain. If all I had to do was sit in front of Trump and like make my eyes pop out, for a couple $1 million.
Snotty look on my face.
Yeah.
I bet you practiced with that look on her face in the mirror before she did this.
That voted for you. Are you going to raise the federal
It's a very low
minimum wage?
number. I will agree. It's a very low number. Let me give you the downside, though.
Yeah.
In California, they raised it up to a very high number, and your restaurants are going out of business all over the place. The population is shrinking. It's had a very negative impact. But there is a level at which you can do it, absolutely. Yeah.
What is that level, do you
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I can say this. You have a lot of businesses that are open and thriving because...
At least he's not lying and saying a bunch of shit. Well, I'm going to do that. I don't know. What more can you say? If you don't know, you don't know. But she's wanting to say some ridiculous shit so then she can jump.
She said some shit that had nothing to do with the question.
Yeah.
I grew up middle class.
Exactly, yeah.
If you raise it too much, and you understand this, if California went crazy, they went crazy. And the restaurants are closing all over. Many more people are hurt.
So I hear you saying, similarly to sort of what you said in 2020, will you consider, is this something you're going to look at?
I'd want to speak to the governors. And the other thing that's very complicated about minimum wages is places are so different. Mississippi and Alabama and great places are very different than New York or California. I mean, in terms of the cost of living and other things.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to have just a minimum wage for the whole country, but it wouldn't work because you have places where it's very inexpensive to live, where a minimum wage, which is $8 or $9, might have very little effect because the cost of living in certain places is really low.
Well, that would be like, having one of those jobs and paying like $500 or $600 a month for an apartment versus making even $15 an hour and then spending, you know, I mean, and having a $1,500 a month apartment, you know, I mean.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to me when I had that construction job. I was making $1,500 a week. My apartment in Highland Park was $500 a month, so I was living good.
Oh yeah.
And then I moved to Austin, started making $20 an hour, but my apartment was $1,500 a month.
And then plus all, like I was shocked at all the fees you told me in these
Oh my
apartments.
God!
Garbage fee, parking fee.
Yeah, because in reality, my rent was $1,400, but after all the fees for the pool and the garbage and the gym fee, so I never used any of that bullshit. It was $1,500. So that's $100 just in fees every month.
And then they had when you fill out your application, you had to pay a fee for
Yeah,
that.
$50 just to say, "Can I live here?" You know, like.
Before we move on to immigration, which I do want to talk about, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, said he will not leave his post even if you ask him to. Will you try to replace Jerome Powell?
No, I don't think so. I don't see it. But I don't. I think if I told him to, he would. But if I asked him to, he probably wouldn't. But if I told him to, he would.
You don't have plans to do that right now?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's talk about mass deportation, one of
Okay.
your big agenda items.
That
You've talked
needs to
about
be done.
prioritizing people who have criminal histories.
Correct.
But is it your plan to deport everyone who is here illegally over the next 4 years?
Well, I think you have to do it, and it's a very tough thing to do.
It's fucking ruining our economy, man. Now, I heard, and these were the Democrats talking how much they've spent on these illegals, man. It's in the billions and billions of dollars they've spent on them, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's taken away from the people that are here.
Well, look at in Hawaii, all the that big fire burnt down everyone's houses. They looked it up on Rogan. It would, in order to rebuild all those houses, it would have cost $5 billion. The $6 billion is what was accidentally sent to Ukraine for extra. They just accidentally sent $6 billion. $5 billion could have been used to rebuild all those houses.
Yeah.
The hurricane in South Carolina.
Yeah, that fucking Kamala Harris says, oh, yeah, you get 7. No, she wanted to give. I don't even want to get started on that shit. But, oh, yeah, well, go on now. Everything completely wiped out. They have no home, no water, no power. Oh, yeah, all you got to do is you get $750, but you got to go online.
And that's not even a week at a hotel.
I know.
Not even a month of groceries either.
I know. And you talk about hotels, man. That shit, you're lucky if you can get that for a few days. Man.
Yeah.
But like I said, my friend Teddy, by Traverse City area there, man, he said he don't believe the prices of these hotel rooms and stuff, man. It's unbelievable. And he said people just flock there, man.
It's. But you have to have, you have rules, regulations, laws. They came in illegally. The people that have been treated very unfairly are the people that have been online for 10 years to come into the country. And we're going to make it very easy for people to come in terms of they have to pass the test. They have to be able to tell you what the Statue of Liberty is. They have to tell you a little bit about our country. They have to love our country. They can't come out of prisons. We don't want people that are...
I've seen individuals, like, not even reporters, they're just like individual people, a few of them, quite a few of them, in fact, went to the border and was interviewing these people coming through. And a lot of them, they had interpreters there and stuff. A lot of them were saying, oh, we're coming here to get all the free goodies,
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't want asylum. They come here to get all the shit they could for free.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You get to stay in a fucking fancy hotel in New York and get all this fucking money on your EBT card.
And our vets are laying in the streets, sleeping in the fucking streets and homeless and shit. Why
yeah, and a hurricane comes by and you get $750 if you can get internet access.
Yeah,
like
people are getting $2,500 a free cell phone. I can't get a free fucking cell phone, and getting all this shit. And our vets and we got homeless people laying in the streets and shit. Homeless people all over the place. Why can't you spend that money on them first?
Yeah.
I mean, this shit is so wrong. I mean, I feel for people wanting to. I mean, there's some people that are leaving because of gangs, some of them countries because of gang activities and stuff, but we got to take care of our own first, man. We can't be the the bleeding heart for every country in the world that's not doing good, you know?
Yeah, because then it's just you're pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's what's going on now.
Yeah.
For murder. So we had 11,000 and 13,000 different estimates, 13,099 murderers released into our country over the last 3 years. They're walking down the streets, they're walking next to you and your family, and they're very dangerous.
The 13,000 figure, I think, goes back about 40 years.
No, it doesn't. No,
That
it's within the 3-year
13,000
period. It's
figure.
during the Biden term. No, that was a fiction that they put that out. This was
I've seen another thing where there was 300 and something thousand, like 340 something thousand criminals that were convicted in their country of violent crimes that are running around our country for totally free.
Yeah.
300 and something thousand.
Well, there's plenty of videos of X on them killing and raping people.
Oh yeah. And then they deny and say it's not happening. Oh, that's fake. Bullshit. It's happening. Like the good thing when I saw was that Vivek when he did that town hall meeting.
Oh
in
yeah, you
Springfield.
told me about that. That was fucking excellent.
Yeah, and these people, these are the people that live there, and they were telling their stories about what happened in their fucking city. And, you know, and then these other people, oh, that's not true. Bull fucking shit. You heard it right from the people that live there, man.
the Border Patrol. It's 13,099, and it's during the Biden period of time. And these are murderers, many of whom murdered more than one person. You don't want those people in this country.
But you're saying something, sir, that's significant. I just want to make
ahead.
sure I'm clear, which is that you're saying, yes, you're going to focus on the people with criminal histories, but everyone who's here illegally has to go.
I'm
is what
saying
you're
this.
saying.
We have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to get people that were taken out of mental institutions and put them back into their mental institution, no matter what country it is. Do you know that Venezuela, their prisons are at the lowest point in terms of emptiness that they've ever been? They're taking their people out of those prisons by the thousands, and they're drunk. And just to get back, because I know exactly what you're getting at. Number one, we're doing criminals, and we're going to do them really
Yeah, she's trying to trap them, is what she's trying to do. Gotcha.
rapidly. We're getting the worst gang probably with MS-13, and the Venezuelan gangs are the worst in the world. They're vicious, violent people. And you see what they've done in Colorado and other places. They're taking over, literally taking over apartment complexes and doing it with impunity. They don't care. They couldn't, they just are, they're in the real estate business.
You know, the local police say that is not the case in Colorado.
Oh, it's
but
totally the case. I mean, I have it
you
on
don't
tape.
believe the local police.
I play it. I used to play it at my rallies every single night. No, they're breaking into doors. They're taking over the building.
But sir, you
and by the way,
raised
the
point.
police are afraid to do anything.
You raised the point that the logistics are complicated. You said
Sure
it yourself.
they are,
You would
but
need
everything's
24
complicated.
Yeah, you mean you need 24 times more ICE detention capacity just to deport 1 million people per year, not to mention more agents, more judges, more planes. Is it realistic to deport?
Well, they're talking about the money that it's going to cost. Well, how about the money already? That's billions that has been spent on the illegal so far, and the billions more it's going to take if they keep on staying here. You know, and she's not, I mean, the money that they're going to spend to get rid of them is going to be better in the long run if you keep them here and keep paying for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, why would you spend $5 on a sucker when you take that same $5 and flush it down the toilet?
Yeah.
Isn't that sucker expensive?
Yeah.
You might as well just flush it down the toilet.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
You know, I don't get her logic. She's just trying to trap them, you know.
Yeah.
And
everyone who's
You have
here
no
illegally?
choice. First of all, they're costing us a fortune.
And like I said, anybody that came here illegally is a fucking criminal because they broke the fucking law.
yeah.
I mean, that's the way I think, man.